and Houston, and then we would insert and the community of Denair. And so that was the only recommended revision there for the second reading.
We need to put Keys in Area 7 too, then. But that's a good, those are good additions.
Okay, Area 7 to include Keys as well.
Well, we could do Hilmar, Vermine, Santanella, Stevenson. Santanella, that's.
I don't think it hurts because,
Yeah. I just think
Actually, it's a good idea because of the redistricting
Yep.
and the way voting is now.
Well, then you need Ripon too, then.
Right?
Yeah, and there's, maybe we could,
Is Salida in your, is that one in there?
community of Salida.
Portion,
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I have Wesley and Grayson, I don't know how many we want to include.
I'd say put them all in
All?
because this
good.
is an election
Yep.
year and people vote by districts. And, you know, before Modesto used to have 3 trustees, you know, so I would put them all in, but we could have Connie just fix that, add everyone, run it to you for a check, even though if we vote on it, and just
Okay.
update all those.
Just take it off the maps that we
right.
have.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even notice that one. I went to sleep on that one.
Okay, I've got that.
And you know, when it says portions of Merced County, I think I have 3 houses
You,
in that.
you have a portion too.
Half a street. I went and tried to find it.
Yeah,
Well, I have one precinct in Santa Clara County,
yeah.
and occasionally I get in the mail an invitation to attend something in San Jose, because, you know, for all elected officials, I kind of send my regrets.
I went to the 3 houses and told them who I was, and they were just flabbergasted that. What?
Okay, well, we're not
Merced
gonna put those
County.
house numbers in.
All right, we have a second. Any other questions, changes? Okay, we
I
have,
just had a question. I hope,
Okay.
I'm not trying to stir anything up. This is a serious question. Those of us who've been on here for a while, every few years, the idea of why the heck are we the Yosemite Community College District?
Oh, I
Has
get
that
that all
died
the time.
down pretty much? Does anybody ever talk about that anymore?
I haven't heard it, and as we went through 1100, you know, we've been going through it since August, I haven't heard that come up.
There was a point in
and
time
and
where that
now we
was an
have
issue.
Yuba Community County.
YCCD.
Well, the
District.
YCCD.
Oh, yeah.
YCCD.
But actually, no, people, I mean, now it's like we're known as the Yosemite District, and when I'm up speaking in like the Tuolumne County areas or in Groveland and other areas like that, it's like, they just see it. I think it's died down. I don't think it's an issue anymore.
Well, when you
And they
go-
know
It was
it's, we're the
it was
other
internally an
Y,
issue, yeah.
I think it's the other YCCD. We know that's Yuba. So we don't,
Well, the problem I always had with it is that people ask me, how's, what's the name
How
of
the
it?
Falls, yeah. Yeah.
Half Dome. Oh, how's Half Dome? How's the Awani Hotel? Or how's this, that? And I said, no, we're, you know, quite a ways from there.
Well, if you read the article by Jeff Jardine about the company that was running the
Yeah,
Awani
yeah.
Hotel and all that,
Changing.
apparently they've copyrighted the name Yosemite.
Mhm.
So Jeff Jardine was sort of making a
a
joke,
big
what are we
issue.
gonna do with the Yosemite Community College District?
I
you know?
didn't see that in there.
I
Yeah,
read
that,
I
it's
read
actually kind of,
Yeah.
didn't send that one out, I better have you go look for it. But it was a Jeff Jardine article, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, maybe?
yeah, I was
Yeah, it was- yeah,
asked that,
last
and
week
I
it was-
said, if they sue, we'll change it. Otherwise, it stays.
Anyway.
But they
all
are
right.
suing the Awani, actually.
They are, and Wawona.
Yeah.
So we have a second reading.
I think we vote on this, don't we?
Mm-hmm, yes, you vote on the second reads.
If there's any comment.
Well,
I
first
guess.
of all, we have no public discussion on it.
Let's see. Or maybe
Do we
not.
have any public discussion on any of the changes that have been suggested? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Well, I'll move that we adopt everything in the second reading with the additions of itemizing the cities and
Districts,
Communities.
communities
communities.
that appear on the maps of our districts.
Okay, been moved by Ann, seconded by
I'll second.
Linda, that we adopt the motion with the changes as noted. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Well, now we have the quarterly report on the district's financial condition
Okay,
and service person.
so we have our second period report ending December 31st, and you have that in your packets. What I wanted to point out, we're through, obviously the second quarter, so we have 2 quarters to go. And we're through the first semester, and with some weeks to go in spring and then on to early summer. So I wanted to draw your attention to Part 2G1, where we talk about our full-time equivalent students, and that's been mentioned tonight. Currently, our revenue budget is based on growing 3% over what we reported in the prior year. So you'll see in the 4th column, under G1, we have 16,974 FTEs budgeted. And in doing so, we put $2 million into revenue and funds into the expenditure budgets to achieve that 3% growth. We will be coming back to you in March amending both the FTES target, the revenue projections, you'll see on, now I'll jump back up to A.1. The $95 million in the unrestricted general fund will drop by $2 million. And then we'll be dropping the expenditure budgets in a similar fashion. It won't be the 100% of the $2 million because we don't allocate 100% of the $2 million. And then we will be dropping the full-time equivalent projection down to 16,542. So what that means is we're going to put back on the table for the system the 3% growth at this point in time, unless something dramatically changes. But I think we've had several conversations between the colleges, central services, that that 16,974 is not going to be reached. The other piece to that is even getting to the 16,542 in the 3rd column, we're still short about 890 FTEs. Wow. So all told, we're short about 1,200 full-time equivalent students as we speak right now. Now, both colleges are gearing up their summers. They added more in spring. And we've talked in the past, but I'll just remind all of us, there is a mechanism in the state that allows us to what we call either borrow or roll back FTEs because they cross fiscal years. So what we are now, our goal currently now is to get back to what we reported last year, because if we don't get to what we reported last year, we actually go into physical decline. The $2 million I'm talking about is growth money. So while we put it in the revenue budget, put in the expenditure budgets, that's not money that we've already been using for current operations. And I wanted that to go to some comments made earlier about RIFs and et cetera, we have the budgets currently for our ongoing operations. It's just that we're not reaching that growth. In March, when we do our presentation and adoption of or presenting, hopefully, the adoption of the amended budget, we'll know a little bit more how much both colleges need to pull back on expenditures. And also Central Services is going to have to look, but keeping in mind there were no augmentations to the Central Services budget. So we just wanted to be real clear and transparent about what we're seeing now. We held off on reporting that. We report to the state in January and then again in April, and then we'll report to the state again in July. So that gives us some time. It gives the colleges some time, and both presidents can speak to that, to identify enough FTEs so that we don't go into decline is the goal. But if it happens that we go into decline, then we'll bring that information to you as soon as we know that. And that really would mean dipping into current apportionment. Right now, we're just saying probably won't get that growth revenue this year, so we're not going to spend any more money on the expenditure budgets to grow. So I wanted to point that out. You'll see that coming. And then the page 2, we're reporting to the state the salary increases to our bargaining units and leadership team. And you'll see there where we report to the state the 5% increases by group, and then the associated rate-driven fringe benefits. And all total, that is about $3.5 million. And I did want to remind the board and all of us that the COLA in the current year was just a little over 1%. But we also had a base increase to make up for all the years of the recessions that the state allocated, actually $266 million. So we were confident that we could fund those salary increases and the rate-driven benefits. We're still confident about that, they're out there. But where we're not confident is that additional piece of the growth. But I thought it was important to know that what we did approve in the salary increases, we have the funding to cover that. So not to lose sleep over that. And then moving on to the quarterly report that we prepare and send to the state, that those first 2 pages are their format. You will note, and I wanted to bring your attention, that on state apportionment, it looks like we are right on target 50% of the way through the year. The state will pay districts based on assuming they're going to grow. So what we'll see next quarter when we report is those percentages will go down. And I just wanted to point that out because you might say, well, if we're short, how come we're bringing the revenue in pretty close to the prior year? It's because we're allocated the cash, but the state will take that back as soon as we report in April where we really are.
So they kind of true up.
Yes, they true up.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, we can look at the expenditure line items, which are down under, well, you'll see line 15 and 16. In a sense, it's somewhat encouraging that Modesto is lower percentage-wise in expenditures to date than we were prior year. That's a good thing because we're going to be pulling back on those budgets. Columbia's a little bit higher, so we'll have to be doing a little more work on that. Do you all follow what I'm saying as compared to the prior year? But overall, in the unrestricted fund, we're pretty close right now. So we'll be needing to look at those expenditure budgets. I appreciate the work that the vice presidents are doing right now and the presidents in looking very critically at where we can stop spending. This isn't a new concept. We've had to do that over the years, is let's stop spending for a while in those discretionary areas that we have, of which we really don't have a whole lot of discretionary. So with that, it's basically the report we ask you. We'll submit it to the county and to the state, and then we'll bring you those revised numbers in March.
And Teresa, I just wanted to add one more thing. I really do want to commend them for focusing on that we are not making our FTS targets. So, and staying on top of their budgets to say it wouldn't be fiscally prudent to keep spending when we're not getting our growth money in, and to spend money that we would have to give back to the state. That's what causes an internal crisis. What we're doing now is very proactive. And, so I just wanted to add that. And I have had several people come to me and say, well, we're having rifts. No, we're not having rifts. We're just not having growth. And there is a very big difference that we're not able to generate enough FTES for growth. So I just want to make that very, very clear. The other thing that I had presented to me was that the chancellor, unbeknownst to anybody in the district, changed the budget allocation resource model. No, go online. It's the same one that we've had for years and years. But we have to make our FTS targets. And if we don't make our FTS targets, and a real easy way to say it is if you've got $1,000 in your checking account and you say you're going to work extra hours to get another $500, but you don't go in and work the extra hours, then you can't spend that $500. And that's basically the most simple way I can say it. We projected that we would do 3% growth, which is approximately $2 million, and we didn't do that. Does that make us bad or lazy or whatever? No, it just means we didn't bring in the growth. So we can't spend money that we don't have. Other than that, we're very fiscally solid, and we're on top of all this, and it's a credit to the vice presidents and the presidents for staying on top of their budgets, and Teresa for staying on top of the budgets. So I just wanted to quell any rumors that are out there.
I have a question, Teresa. Do you have any anecdotal information, or anyone else up here on the dais, that other school districts are experiencing the inability to get the growth dollars?
We do some in the state are, others are growing, like San Diego's growing,
LA.
I can't, LA,
LA
the
is
president's
growing.
probably LA,
Grapevine.
yeah. And then the valley seems to be not too
Flat.
much. Delta was starting to, but now we've learned from them, because we do survey all of our neighbors. They're not declining, they're not growing. Merced, not growing.
Not
Bay
meeting
Area,
either.
some of those are. So it's a mixed bag. And,
And it's
Each-
not, and in some cases, it's not even geographical, it's just schools. So, and I'm not sure why, what pockets are there or not, but, but it's hit and miss all over the state.
Probably the infusion of immigrants that come into the country, bringing kids, so. And normally where they go is to the immensely populated areas like Los Angeles, San Diego. close
Where
to
there's
the border.
jobs, but certainly we do have people out there that we could recruit. Is that correct? I mean, we do have graduates from our high schools. The population, the numbers are there. Is that correct? But we're just not able to attract them for whatever reason.
I don't know, Linda. Rather than just give a real broad brush answer, I don't know. High school populations in some areas are going down. So I could say that, but there's a lot of things that we can do, and we're working on it. I think the student had a question.
It was more of a comment. Last year, Columbia with Gary, we did an analysis of the high schools and their estimated graduation rates. I can see if I can find a copy of that and send that to you.
But your county is declining, so probably.
Tuolumne was declining. There were a couple of the local high schools that were declining. I want to say it was Calaveras was one of the only ones that had a slight increase, and it was slight. So.
All right, we have conducted a public hearing. Anyone in the audience who may comment on the district's financial condition? If not, we'll entertain a motion that the Board of Trustees conduct a public hearing to review district financial report for the quarter ending December 31st, 2015, and direct staff to submit a copy of the required report to the California Community College Chancellor's Office. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, we
We should
need
get a
a
motion in a
vote.
second, yes.
Who will move that?
So moved. So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by
Lynn?
Lynn Martin, seconded by Don Viss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, now we go on to the next one, the special appointment to the VIP JPA Board of Directors.
So Chair Rojas, this is the self-insurance pool that we participate in with Merced and State Center. And we are requesting approval of Dorothy Pimentel to be the alternate to the board. A. Rojas is the governing board member, and I am the management board member. And this is just to fill a alternate position that's been vacant for some time. The other two colleges have risk managers on their safety committees, not security necessarily, but we will be certainly inviting John to be joining us, because actually our whole last community college conference was based on the active shooters and all those things. So it's with safety, security, all mixed together. So we're requesting the approval of Dorothy to sit on that board. She's been serving on the safety committee with that group, as well as the overarching pool, the ASCIP pool, and we would just like to get her to be a voting member at this point.
What's the wishes of the board? Accept the recommendation? Okay, I need a vote.
I move that we accept the recommendation for Dorothy Pimentel to be the alternate director
Moved by
position.
trustee Martin,
I'll
seconded
second the
by
motion.
trustee Mike Riley. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we go to the main part of the agenda. Number 7, board comments.
Oh, excuse me, we have a Measure
Oh, did I miss?
Huh?
Didn't have the numbers.
What time is it? Oh.
I don't know. No, but it wasn't numbered, so that's
Oh,
why.
that's why, yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
That's a good excuse.
That's right.
Okay, Measure E proposed budget adjustments.
Yeah.
I just had a question for Dr. Stearns in terms of the participatory governance. What committees, councils would have approved this, or what role would they have played in these changes?
Primarily our facilities council. And Al, do you want to talk about information that was shared with them? It's driven by the cost of the roads.
Yeah, I just wanted the process, not the dollars.
Yeah, facilities council.
So the facilities council, does that go to the college council as well, or just facility council to your approval and then to the board?
In this case, because it's a, keeping everything balanced until we see where the contingencies fall. So at this point, the project's not disappearing. It's just keeping the project balance, the projects and the budget aligned.
Just so you know, we're getting, here's an easy way, and Angie was going to have one, but I sent it back to her because they needed to do a little more work. We're getting near the end of the bonds right now, so that's why we're watching these budgets very, very closely, and some of the estimates, what happened, and Mark, you can jump in on this if you want to. But basically, you know, there was more and more money available when the economy was down and we were getting lower bids, and now it seems like construction prices are starting to go up again on us, Mark. And therefore, why don't you, yes, you can explain that. So we're having to do more with less money.
Yeah, so I think, I appreciate the question was about process, but I do want to give a little bit of background about the technical reasons for why we're reallocating bond dollars and making recommendations to reallocate the bond dollars. Is that the original budgets for roads, which was a top priority in the original prioritization of the remaining projects, were established based on a standard road construction section, basically paving and gravel. And what we then, after we established the budgets, we went in and did our soils testing, discovered that we need a more substantial base and pavement section than we ordinarily would see in road construction. So we're augmenting the budgets. We have every intent, and our goal is to not spend these dollars and return them and basically restore the budget for all of the projects that were the priority of the college. But just to be safe, we've asked that we augment the budgets for the different road projects so we can have the flexibility to award those projects and continue to move forward. So that's the technical reason for why we're doing it. It's largely just based because we have soil that we need to be making a good base section, which eventually will be a very good investment on your part because it will mean that a road will last longer. So it'll be a more of an investment into the future. So
And
probably way more than you wanted to know about roads,
But some of the roads at Columbia are crumbling and falling apart, especially College Drive, which goes right into the college. The sides of College Drive are falling apart. And some of the roads up at Columbia, like to the Science Building and others, literally some of the trucks fell in them. And here, and if you look at West Campus right now, we need roads to get around to all the buildings and parking lots and such, so.
yes. And it will be an investment that will contribute to access. It is something that I believe I've mentioned, but I will mention again at the risk of repetition, something that the state will never fund you for.
Right.
So, you know, paying for roads and infrastructure are things that are essential to make sure that we continue to have access to all the great facilities you guys are building as part of your bond, so.
I have a question. It may be a question more for Jill. So it's clear here that all of this road stuff on West Campus and needs more money, and it's being taken from
we've defunded the ag storage building.
The egg
Storage
storage is one of them.
Yeah. So what you see is, that you see a couple things. We are basically, we finished a number of projects, so we're defunding them. One of which is the Great Valley storage building. You see that we, and the board had previously asked, are we really gonna spend all $3 million, and we're actually down to 1.9 on that. Moving those dollars over, but we're largely moving the money out of the ag storage building with the intent, once we get savings, to move it back into that project with the savings from the roads projects.
Savings from what you have printed here it's gonna cost?
Yes, that would be our goal. And you also have I believe, over $1 million contingency still
Contingency,
remaining.
we
Well,
dropped.
that's, yeah.
Yeah, we dropped that to 400,000.
Which,
600.
again, we always want to maintain a contingency. Our contingency right now is 2% of the remaining projects. So that's why we have $1 million set aside, so.
Did I answer your question, Mike, as to?
Probably way more
I
than you
was just
want.
looking
Yeah, I know.
process
You were
there.
looking process,
yeah,
and I
the-
gave you
yeah.
time.
I wanted to
Well,
know.
no, but I think it's important
important.
because
Thank you, Mark.
Process is a lot more exciting when you're looking to spend money.
Yeah. We had a good run.
Yeah.
it had a really good run.
Okay, the action on the agenda is that the board approve the revised Western Community College Major E Bond Project Budget Adjustment. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Been moved by trustee Viss, seconded by
Second.
trustee Tom Hallinan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay, now we have board comments. Why don't we start with Ann this time?
Okay. I had a meeting with Michelle Christopherson. I had the pleasure to attend the Newman and Gustine Redevelopment Successor Agency meetings. I got sort of lucky, they were both on the same day, so I just had to kill like an hour and a half in between. I attended the board dinner, board social, and the special board study session. And since the last board meeting, I've attended 5 Great Valley Museum meetings in an effort to get our gala going, and the count into the caterer is due by Friday. So if any of you are going to go, we'd love to have you come. Please get your order in by Friday. You can do it online at mjc.edu.gvm, or you can write a check. And if you are not able to attend and would like to donate, I'd be very happy to have you do that too.
Tom?
I was up at the other YCCD a couple of weeks ago. I won't make any comments in comparison.
You can't.
The only thing I can recall, I was sick a lot of last week. I attended my 2 oversight boards, and I guess those theoretically could be the last
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Because the county, I guess, takes over in there'll just be one big county one in 2017. The other thing I wanted to mention, I thought it was really nice that, my push has been, we gotta, as a community, kind of reach higher. And I really liked what Janet Napolitano did in urging more community college students to reach for UC. As she said, community college is a great way to prepare for a UC degree. So let's, I hope we embrace that. Thank you.
Mr. Viss?
I attended the special board meeting and the training session that we had on safety. Attended the board social. That was more fun than the other meeting. Also attended the agenda meeting.
Thank you. Aaron?
Okay, kind of a full list for this month. The weekend after the board meeting, I volunteered at a 4-H dinner along with the Associated Students of Columbia College to collect cans for the food pantry that we have on campus. Modesto Junior College is actually going to be coming up to visit Columbia in a couple months to see how we do it, to see if they can model it down there very similarly. I attended policies and procedures. I attended district council, which we primarily talked about the district strategic plan and how that's going to be changing. I went to a Student Senate Region 5 meeting. I attended the College Council at Columbia College, where we talked about the mission statement, which was, we spent at least an hour on the mission statement. It was a really good conversation on it. I went to the ASCC meeting where they planned cram night, and also talked about appointing people to committees and making sure that all of their shared governance, participatory governance seats are filled. I met with Lynn. I took a tour of the new district building a couple hours ago. Between the break of that and closed session, I went over to ASMJC's office and sat in on one of their legislative committees to just get an update on what they're doing. Going to their meeting tomorrow, since their normal ones are on Friday, but we all have a holiday. And now that it's February, it's kind of getting close to May, which is when I term out. So before the end of my term, I'm going to try and meet with most of the people on this dais at least once. That includes this dais. And also, I want a comment from last time, and I don't want us to get in a habit of different divisions, different departments pointing fingers about really anything that can be avoided on issues. I really want us to make sure that we stick together how Yosemite Community College District has in the past and shown to be leaders throughout the state. I mean, 2 years ago, I went to the Student Center for California Community College introduction meeting after I was already in for 2 months, and we had a meeting with a lot of the different shared governance at the state level. And the first thing I heard was, oh, Columbia College Child Care Program. And I didn't really know much about it at that point because I was really still kind of new, but the whole state knew us about us. So I really want to make sure that we always collaborate as much as possible and try and solve the issues the most effective and quickest way possible. So I think one of the big issues we have with FTEs, I think we really need to look at making our online education at both campuses more robust and comprehensive. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Suggestion.
Very good. Linda?
I attended the Stanislaus County Trustee Representatives meeting. I also attended a county successor oversight meeting. I attended our special study session focusing on safety and security. I also got to participate in the tour of our new central services building, attended the agenda review, and also participated in the ad hoc policies and procedures meeting. Attended the informal trustee dinner. It was a wonderful opportunity to be able to talk to trustees in a more informal social setting. I also attended the Martin Luther King Commemoration Day, both at King Kennedy Center and MJC.
Mike?
I also enjoyed the trustee dinner, and as Andy Martini has been very diligently pursuing people to come to the Great Valley Museum, I found out something that maybe I'll be able to get her to contribute to the athletic fundraiser when it comes down, because her father received an athletic scholarship from Hall of Fame football coach at University of Chicago and UOP, Alonzo Stagg, in track. So since she's got that tie to athletics, certainly Ann will be twisting an arm there to see. But very impressive. Had a very nice meeting, as Debbie said, Debbie Partridge with CSEA president. The MJC Foundation board meeting was yesterday. Steve Collins, who just served out his term as president, and John Zagaris is the new foundation president for the upcoming year. And also at that meeting, Tommy Ledesma, the ASMJC president, who's not here tonight, I can understand why. He made a presentation. He's taking 15 units and working 3 part-time jobs. But he gave us a nice presentation, was very complimentary toward you, Jill, and also to Brian Justin Marks in terms of what's going on there. And I was very pleased to hear that setting expectations and aspirations higher in terms of for student senate and officers, raising the GPA requirement and the number of units that a student would take to qualify. I always like to see aspirations and expectations set at a good level.
I attended the Policies and Procedures Ad Hoc Committee meeting and the agenda review on Monday. Also attended the board social in Oakdale. Had a chance to have lunch with Dr. Fairchild. Attended the special board meeting and had a nice lunch meeting with Aaron. And went on the tour of the new district office building today.
Thank you. Well, I attended the Turlock Oversight Committee meeting. I had also attended the study session, agenda review, and the social that we had, which I agree, Linda, it was really a nice atmosphere. And then I was appointed by the Cal State Stanislaus Board of Governors, whatever they want to call them, in the selection process of the new president of Cal State Stanislaus. So I was pretty happy with that. So with that, if there's no other comments, I'm sorry.
May I make
Oh,
one?
yes, you may make it.
This is a little unusual, but Jan, you shared something so positive about MJC with me this week and your grandson that I think it bears repeating here in open session. Would you mind just doing that?
My grandson has been attending University of Louisiana at Lafayette, Louisiana, and he is majoring in sports training. He had incredible mentoring here and still does from Bobby Boswell. And I remember several years back when Bobby stood here and gave a report. The presentations, that come around monthly, well, he was chosen that month to give a report. And I thought, wow, I would really like my grandsons to be in this program. And then as time went by, it happened. And so my grandson ended up in Louisiana, which was not exactly his first choice. But their program is excellent. And I believe that we have 5 students that have gone there from MJC since that time. And that university, their coaches are saying, and their professors, that they have not had students as well trained as the MJC students have been.
Awesome.
They say their hands-on experience aren't allowed in many other states until they get many more years under their belt. And so our kids have gone there really 1, 2, 3 up on a lot of other students. And I think that was a foundation for where he is now. He's graduating in May. He just got his acceptance for San Jose State with a full ride for his master's program, plus a monthly stipend. So I am so proud of our school. Needless to say, proud of my grandson. It's like, whose grandson are you? But really, really proud of what our school and the professors, teachers, and administration have poured into him.
That's
So I just
great.
wanted to-
Very good. There's nothing more than a proud grandma. Or grandpa. All right, for the announcement, the next regular meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held on March 9th of this year. Closed session will begin at 3:30 and open session at 5:30 in the Manzanita Conference Room at Columbia College.
And it was a
Columbia.
60s theme.
Columbia
So
College.
it was my because I
Yeah, lucky Lynn.
Okay, for that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
I gotta see it, Dawn. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's the Wi-Fi hotspot.